this is Jo from Maths Tutor Me. Today we're going to do some algebra and we're going to do the very first type of factorizing that you might ever come across, just using the common factor. So factorizing using a common factor. So what does factorize mean? Well, to factorize, we write the highest common factor outside the brackets, then divide each term by the common factor and place the remainder inside the brackets. That sounds very wordy, I know, but hopefully it will all make sense when I show you how to do this. The highest common factor can include numbers, letters, and even negative signs. Alright, so basically factorizing is the reverse of expanding. Hopefully you've seen my video on expanding and you've been practicing that. So factorizing, we're doing the reverse. We want to put these kinds of expressions here back into brackets. So examples here, it says factorize by taking out the highest common factor, which you may also have seen that called HCF for highest common factor. So I have two terms here, 5j minus 20. I want to look for the highest number or letter or both that I can divide that by. 5 and 20 can both be divided by 5. That is the highest number I can divide them by. So 5 would go out the front. There's no letters or things in common in either of those terms, so 5 is the only factor that I have for this question. So then I'm going to open my bracket and I'm going to divide this term, each term actually, by the 5. 5j divided by the 5 would basically take the 5 out and I would just have a j left. Take the second term, 20 divided by 5 would give me a 4. Close your bracket and there it is. I have factorized. You can always check to see if you've got it right by expanding it back out in your head to see if you get your original question that you started with. 5 times j is 5j. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. It works. Let's try it again with question 2. 6m plus 10. Well, is there a common factor there? Oh, yes, in the numbers. So sometimes if you're not very good at timetables, you might want to write yourself a little list. 6 can be divided by 1, but that doesn't do much. It can be divided by 2, it can be divided by 3, or it can be divided by 6. 10, my other number here, can be divided by 1, it can be divided by 2. Oh, let me move that down so you can see it. It can be divided by 5 and it can be divided by 10. Okay, so for the highest common factor, I need to look at these lists and find the highest number in both of them. Well, the highest number is the 2. So my highest common factor out of those numbers is 2. You may not need to write those down, but for some of you just starting out, that might be a helpful tip. 2 is my factor to come out the front. If I divide 6 by 2, I will get a 3, and the m will need to stay with that. 10 divided by 2 goes 5 times. Close my bracket, and I have finished my factorizing. Question 3. Alright, GH minus 9G. Well, there's not really any number here, so this time my factor is a letter. There is a G in both of these terms, so G is the factor at the front. If I divide this term by G, that means the G will disappear and I'll be left with the H. If I divide my second term by G, I will be left with the 9, h minus 9 inside the brackets. Let's try again with question 4. 4x squared minus 7x. 4 and 7. Looking for a factor in my numbers. Well, 7's a prime number. which means it's not going to have any factors except for 1 and 7. And 7's not going to go into 4, so there's no number here that I can actually divide each of these by. So I'm looking at letters now. They both have an x. X is my common factor. Open the bracket. If I divide this term by x, I will have a 4. It was an x squared, so if I take one of the x's out, I will still have one of them left in the bracket. Minus 7x divided by x, that will take that x away, and I'll be left with negative 7. Sometimes you can have letters and factors, like in question 5, 3ab plus 6bc. Both of those numbers can be divided by 3, so 3 is my number factor. I have AB and BC, both of those terms have a B, so B is also a common factor. So 3b, my highest common factor at the front. Open the brackets. If I divide this by 3b, 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. I don't need to write a 1. If there is other things to put in there, let's have a look. B will cancel that B out, and I have an A still in here. So it could be a 1A, because remember I had the 1, but we don't need to write the 1 because there is an A there, and we don't need to write a 1 in front of an A. At the end of this, 6BC, 6 divided by 3 goes twice. The B will cancel off, and I will still have a C left. Question 6, 9HK plus 15H. 9 and 15, looking for a common factor. You may need to write out some factors if you're unsure. The highest number that you can divide both of those by is 3. And there is also a common H in each of them. Open the bracket. 9HK, if I divide 9 by 3, I will get 3. The H I've taken out, so there'll still be a K in the bracket. 15 divided by 3 goes 5 times. The H I've divided out, so that's it. Question 7. The common factor, 5d squared minus 30d. Both of those numbers can be divided by 5, and there is a common factor of d. Let's put the leftovers inside the brackets. I've taken the 5 out. I've taken one of the d's out, so there will still be one d left in here, d. 30 divided by 5 goes 6 times, and I've taken that d out, so that's it. Close the bracket. Question 8. The process still applies if I have 3 terms, but I need to find a factor for all of them. So 4a plus 8b minus 12c. All of those numbers can be divided by 4. There is no common letter in those, so 4 is my only factor. Putting the leftovers inside the brackets. The 4 divided by 4 goes once, and I still have an A there as well. 8 divided by 4 goes twice, and I will have the B as well. And minus 12 divided by 4 goes negative 3 times. 12 divided by 4 is 3, and I still have the C. Close bracket. Question 9, another 3-term one. This time I have a number factor, so 15, 9, and 21 can all be divided by 3. And I also have a letter factor. There's a Y, there's 2 Y's there, so there is a Y in each of my terms. Let's put the leftovers in the brackets. 15 divided by 3 goes 5 times. I've taken the Y out, so there's still an X that needs to go in the bracket. 9 divided by 3 goes 3 times. I had a Y squared, one of them's come out the front, so there'll still be 1 left in here. 21 divided by 3 goes 7 times. I've taken the Y, but I still need the Z. Question 10. Looks easier again, but now we have something new where I can have a negative as a factor. Both of those terms have a minus sign in them, so I can bring the minus out of the bracket as a factor. Both of the terms also have a 7, so 7 can be a factor. Open the bracket. If I divide this by negative 7, I'll have 1 left, and I will have a p, so just p in the bracket. Minus 7 divided by minus 7 gives me a positive 1. Because there's no other letters, I do need to write the 1 there. Question 11. Minus 24x minus 18x squared. There's a minus in each of them, so that's a factor. 24 and 18. Let's see, that's 6 is the highest number that can take out of both of those. And there is also an x. So a minus, a 6 and an x, all 3 factors to come out the front. I've taken this minus out the front. 24 divided by 6 goes 4 times. And I've taken the x, so that's it, just 4 left in the bracket from that first term. The second term, I've taken the minus sign, so it'll become a plus in here. 18 divided by 6 goes 3 times. And x squared, I've taken one of the x's, so there'll still need to be one more left inside the brackets. How are you going? I hope that's all making sense. Just be careful whenever you're finding factors to take out the front. You never want to have any decimals inside your bracket. If you are finding that you're getting a decimal, it means that you've taken out a factor that is too high that you shouldn't have taken out. Okay, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, you can print out my sheets. If you go to my website, see the details below, so that you can have your questions all set out for you, ready to do your own answers. So what I want you to do is turn off the video, pause it for a minute, and try these questions. They're just like the ones that we've just done together, and see how you go remembering what we've learnt, and then unpause the video and we'll go through the answers together. Question 1, I want to take out a common factor. So 8 is the common factor there in both of those terms. If I divide the 8 out of the first term, I will have an r left. And for the second term, 8 divided by 8 is a 1. I still have the minus sign, so a minus 1. Question 2, 10h plus 5. Both of those numbers can be divided by 5. No common letters, so that's my common factor. 10 divided by 5 goes twice. There's also a h there. The second term, 5 divided by 5 goes once, so plus 1. Question 3, 9jk minus 12j. Both of those numbers can be divided by 3, and there is also a common letter this time, j. Open the brackets. First term, 9 divided by 3 goes 3 times. J has been taken out the front, but the k will need to be in the bracket. The second term, 12 divided by 3 goes 4 times. The j has been taken out the front, so that's it. Close bracket. Question 4, looking for a common factor, 11 and 15. There's no common factor other than 1 there to take out, so looking at the letters, R. R is my common factor out the front. Putting leftovers in the brackets. The 11, the R is at the front, so T in the bracket. Minus 15, yeah, need the 15. And the R has been taken out here, so close the bracket. Remember, you can always check that you're getting these right by expanding them back out in your head to see if you get back to the original question. Okay, question 5, we have 3 terms, 15mn minus 25no plus 5n squared. Each of those numbers can be divided by 5. And there is also n in each of those terms. So let's open the bracket. 15 divided by 5 goes 3 times. M needs to be in the bracket. The n has been taken out. 25 divided by 5 is 5. N is out the front. O in the bracket. And the last term, 5 divided by 5 is 1. And I've had n squared. One of the n's is here. I'll need a second one here in the bracket. Question 6, last question. There is a negative factor and both of those numbers can be divided by 7. Open the bracket. The minus is out the front. 14 divided by 7 goes twice and there is a W. For the second term, the minus is out the front, so I'll need a plus in the middle. 21 divided by 7 goes 3 times. Close bracket. That's it. Alright, remember to practice, practice, practice. Find some more questions and just keep practicing until you are really confident at these. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.